Hi guys, it is February 10th and I'm going to share with you an update on my indoor garden as well as the seeds that we started both in January and in February. There's some really awesome stuff going on here. So I'd like to welcome you to my backyard Kentucky homestead. My name is Kim and let me show you around. I will normally have two of these lights, one in back and one in front, but for this video I have removed the front one. I'll be putting them back after we're done. So let me show you what's going on here. So I had started some cimarron lettuce. It's doing really well. The agasaki and the spicy globe basil that we started in January, doing really well. We've got germination throughout. Our petite charmer blend petunias have also germinated, as have our royal petunias. These have also germinated, doing really good. This is sage, basil, and oregano that I started back in October. I have harvested off of those and dried the herbs several times. And this, the oregano and basil makes it smell like a pizza parlor. It's really pretty cool. Okay, so here we have our Nabuka, Tokyo Long, and Guardsman green onions that have started. And our Kokolka petunias have germinated really, really well. I've got really good germination throughout. Very excited. Here we have our first tray of onions. We have Bridger, Walla Walla, Flat of Italy. And I'm going to need to come through, when your onions get above 3 inches tall, you want to come in with a pair of clippers. These are way overboard, but I don't have the other ones with me. But we're just going to go ahead and just trim these down. And you can use this for dinner. But what we want to do is to keep these about 3 inches tall, so we'll just trim them down as they get a little bit taller. So just come through and just level them off. And that will help them grow stronger. It'll make the base stronger and make the roots stronger. And also, if you noticed in here, if you've never grown onions before, the seedling leaf will die back. So you'll look like you'll have these little brown things dying off. Don't worry about that. That is perfectly normal. But when you see especially if you see one of these laying down, you want to go ahead and trim it off. And you can actually just pinch them with your fingers too. It pops right off. Okay. Over here is very exciting. These are the peppers that I started in October. So the Pippin's Golden Honey still has a lot of flowers on it. It still has not produced any fruit. I don't think it's pollinating. I'll have to research that some more. But for this one, this is the Lemon Dream. Now, this is a sweet pepper. It is not the Lemon Drop. This is a Lemon Dream burpee pepper. And it is absolutely loaded with peppers. We have one that's ripening. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least 6 more. There's at least 6 more on there that are growing. So doing really, really well. And these have been in this grow room the entire time that they've, since I started them in October. This is a pepperoncini pepper. We have quite a few peppers that are germinated and growing. They're doing really, really nicely. I did allude that this one had a gazillion flowers on it. Not all of them germinated, which is actually okay because it's still very, very loaded with peppers. Over here, we have the 4th pepper that we started in October. This is the Jimmy Nardello. We still have some blossoms going. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably at least a dozen peppers on there. I'm trying to wait until they start turning red to pick them. But they're just doing absolutely beautifully. If you're interested in the grow light setup I've got, check out that video. I'll link it below. But it's a really good DIY setup. This is a micro tomato. It's a tiny Tim. And we've actually got several tomatoes that are ready to pick. So I've got 2 here that's probably ready. I was almost ready. Got a number of other tomatoes below. And it's got another few blossoms over here. So that seems doing really well. So this is another one. This is a Red Robin micro tomato. We've got at least 3 tomatoes that are pretty close to being ready to pick. We also have a number of other clusters of tomatoes on here. Here's another one. lots of tomatoes. They're doing beautifully. Very, very happy. My plan with these is to put them outside. So down here on the next shelf, I actually have 2 tomatoes that I brought in from outside. So I started these in February of 2024. They were out in the outside all summer. I brought them in October, and they've got a number. I think this, don't have a label, but I'm thinking this is a Rosy Finch, but we have quite a few tomatoes that are about ready to be picked. This is a smaller Tiny Tim, and it has a bunch of tomatoes on it, but they're not quite ripe yet. But overall, doing really, really, really well. Also on this shelf, we have dill that I started inside. It's doing beautifully. It smells fabulous. Just love that. And that will, again, all of these things are going to go outside, mostly. So this is a purple plum radish. I am just trying to grow these indoors to actually harvest in the next couple of weeks. So they're growing pretty good. And then back here, unfortunately, the tritoma never germinated, and we ended up with 2 echinacea that germinated. This is part of our January planting. And then we have a bunch of lavender, and this smells wonderful. Smells just like lavender. So those are growing really well. I'm going to probably pull these apart, separate them into their own container, and I may actually just use this row here so that they've got more space to grow. Because one of the things you'll find when plants are too crowded, they don't grow nearly as quickly or as well. This is one of the quick snack cucumbers, and it's doing really well. Started a few weeks ago from seed. And we might be getting some flowers on there soon, but it's doing well. What I found is that it doesn't like as much light. I think it's a variety that has been grown so that it does well in a windowsill. So it does not need as much light as what I've got going on here in the grow room. In the back here, I have some ginger growing. A couple of stalks popping up there. There's some purple kohlrabi growing, as well as some snowball cabbage. And these are going to need to be transplanted and up-potted into a larger container soon. So back there I have some keratin leeks on the far side and guardsman onions on this side. And the idea of this was to have it inside. I'm not sure if they're going to actually come to fruit to harvest inside, but they'll be ready to go outside if not. But they're doing great. So this one is pretty cool. Onions, as a general rule, have a really high germination rate for the first year. After that, it dramatically drops off. So I had a bunch of seeds left over from 2022 and 2023, so they were packaged to sell in those years. And I had a bunch left, so I just took them and just sprinkled them all over there, put a little dirt on there, just to see. I expected no germination on this because they're like 2 and 3 years old. But, I mean, it's absolutely loaded. So I've got all kinds. There's red onions and yellow onions and white onions and shallots and just all kinds of stuff, whatever I had left over. So what I'm going to do with this is bring this into work for some people that have gardens, as well as some friends who have gardens, and also for a local community project that I'm aware of. I'm going to go ahead and give them some to plant up as well. But this is really exciting. I did not expect anything to germinate, and that is just astounding, just astonishing me. Okay. Over here we have some spinach I started from indoors, just for use inside. And then we have some more King Richard leeks. These are going to be planted outside. Both of these are Zabroon shallots. They're doing very well. And these are similar to the onions. We're going to trim the ones that are longer as they mature. So in here we have some mustard greens and some red Russian kale. Not sure if we're going to like these. We've not used these before, but I got the seeds for Christmas, so it's like we're going to go ahead and plant them up and see what comes of it. So pretty exciting. And these are very, very, very tiny Lisianthus. The Echo Blue is by far the best one. It was the first to germinate, and it's the largest. But we have good germination across the Arena 3 apricot, the Voyager 2 lavender. Probably the one that's furthest behind is this Echo champagne. They're very, very, very tiny. Hopefully over the next several weeks, because we've got still 2 months plus before these would be ready to be put outside. They are very, very slow growing plants, which is why you need to start Lisianthus so early. But I'm happy with it. We have very, very, actually doesn't look like we have much of any algae growth. So this by far is way better than I had last year as far as success. So down here we have our cabbages, our brassicas. We have some broccoli, we have snowball, cauliflower, calabrese broccoli, broccoli rabe, which is bolting. This is the second time I've tried to grow that and inside, and it is bolted both times. So I think I'm going to just give up on broccoli rabe. But we have the calabrese broccoli, snowball cabbage, or snowball cauliflower. And then we have Copenhagen market cabbage, Charmant cabbage, red acre cabbage, and Romanesco broccoli here in the back. And they are all doing beautifully well. This is the jewel amethyst eggplant that I had on my video for my February seeds. The Tomarillo hasn't sprouted yet. So here we have our baby blue eucalyptus. It has sprouted beautifully. Very happy with that. So we have some white Spanish onions. And then we also have we have 2 trays of American leeks. Behind that we have the things that I have up potted from our January plantings. So we have our king size apricot asters, we have our coral mavic geraniums in the back, our green global artichoke over there, and the only one vision pink hardy geranium that I got is back there. So we're really disappointed. I only had 5 seeds and only one of them came up, but it's one. So over here we have a bunch of rosemary I started, and in the far container in the front we have chamomile, and then in the front containers we have baby's breath, some more leeks, and some green white kohlrabi. And here we're trying to pre-sprout some ranunculus. And this is the rest of our onions, which we're also going to top here if we need to. When we need to, we got Patterson, Scout, and candy onions, and we got really good germination on those. Now, what I did with my onions this year was try to do 1 seed per cell, so the plants had a lot more room to grow and a whole lot more energy. They weren't competing with each other. So far, it's doing really, really well. I have about another month to month and a half. We have a little bit over a month before these will be ready to go outside. So they are far better than the last 2 years that I've tried. So down here on the last shelf, we have some more of the early stuff that we started. We have our New York Aster on the far left side. We have our Columbine Harlequin mixed. Columbine Pink Petticoat, ended up with one of those. Got a little bit of lettuce growing, some yarrow, some blue gramagrass. Parsley I started inside. And then we also have got the blues pansies, the ruffle pansies. Yeah, so that's what we've got going on there. They're all doing really, really well. We have our Valencia orange tree. So we actually have blossoms on this, and you can see here this one has been pollinated. It's yellow. And what I've noticed with the Meyer lemon is that once that has pollinated, it turns a bright yellow. Before it is pollinated, it's like a white color. But this tree has a bunch of blooms on it in the different sections. So I'm expecting to have quite a few oranges on it. The lemon tree also has blossoms. That's pollinated, which I've tried to pollinate. I think I got a couple of them, but the lemon tree is not having the best time. But I think it is doing better. It's got a lot of new growth on it, and we do have blooms. I'm pretty sure that several of them have pollinated now. We have 3 peppers that I brought in from outside. This is the Jedi jalapeno, and it actually has quite a few peppers on it and a bunch more flowers. This one has some fruit starting on it, and this one I decapitated once or twice, so it's a little bit behind the others. And then we have an olive tree, which has pushed a lot of new growth in the last few weeks, so it's looking really good as well. So I've gotten all the lights back on, so I do have 2 lights on each shelf, and we are locked and ready to go. We're doing beautifully well. I'm very, very happy with the progress. We have very, very little algae growth, which is really good. Last year I had a lot of problem with algae growth. So super, super happy. So if you're interested in some of the other stuff I'm growing, check out this video. And I hope you all have a very wonderful day. Happy gardening. Bye.